Hello everyone, I am Glyza B. Medina, studied Bachelor of Economics 3B, reporting my policy paper entitled Circular Number 1033, Series of 2019 Amendments to Regulations on Electronic Banking Services and Other Electronic Operations. In the background of the law, the description of my policy paper. It was deliberated on the 14th day of February 2019 from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas in the Office of Governor through the workplace in charge Maria Al-Azarasid Intuuno Amanador. According to the Monetary Board in its resolution number 258, the amendments is being authorized to the Manual of Regulations for Banks, Manual of Regulations for Non-Bank Financial Institutions on Electronic Banking Services and other electronic operations. Generally, the issued Circular Number 1033 talks about providing the amendments to the regulations on electronic banking services and other electronic operations, and these amendments mainly cover the developments in electronic payment and financial services. Electronic banking and different types of transactions. Customers activated electronic banking system using cash dispenser or ATM, electronic funds transfer at point of sales, credit cards, home and office banking, and internet banking. And these types of transactions of electronic banking is used nowadays. And this picture shows the different types of processes using ATM, SMS banking, and internet banking. In the analysis of the law, the researcher gathered data in the internet in order to determine the effectiveness and the political feasibility of the policy. The researcher used the literature review and used relevant information which regards to the policy paper. In the review of my policy paper, the criteria given first was effectiveness. In the assessment, it is effective. Why? Because in the summary, according to the 2019 FIS, payments continue to be the most dominant financial transaction, with 61.2 million Filipinos representing 85% of the adult population making and receiving payments of various forms such as income, salaries, benefits, pension, dividends, or income from business, loan proceeds, and insurance payout. Payment transactions remain significantly cash-heavy, with the OTC method still preferred over other modes. And the second criteria was political feasibility. The assessment is feasible. Why? Because in the summary on the regulatory front, the BSP sought the proper balance to ensure that innovations are encouraged while consumer protection is upheld and threats to financial stability are mitigated. The BSP issued prudential measures that included licensing requirements for institutions intending to offer electronic services, outsourcing policy for those that engage third-party services such as infrastructure providers, as well as business continuity management and information security management for all BSP supervised institutions. Policy recommendation is an act recommending amendments to Circular Number 1033, Series of 2019 Amendments to Regulations on Electronic Banking Services and Other Electronic Operations. Under my policy recommendation are the goals, regulations, enhancements, and other changes in EPFS, K or tools and guidelines, but the main idea of my policy paper that I will going to discuss was in the goals and regulations. First is the goals. The purpose of the amending to regulations are as follows. First, classification and licensing requirements. Second is continuity management regulations. Third and last is consumer protection standards of conduct for compliance with relevant regulations. Second is the regulations. First is to oversee its electronic payment financial services through an appropriate top-level committee to ensure that concerns on these services are timely and properly addressed. Second is to make its electronic payment and financial services with funds transfer functionality interoperable by participating in an automated clearinghouse pursuant to the guidelines provided under Part 12 of the MORB or Q regulations of the MORNDFI on payment systems. Third is to integrate electronic payment and financial services in its overall strategic plan to ensure that these services do not put undue strain on its systems, financial performance, and risk management capability. Fourth is to promote electronic payment and financial services by implementing appropriate marketing strategies. Fifth is to ensure that it satisfies the legal and regulatory requirements for anti-money laundering, combating financing of terrorism, and the last is to comply with the relevant regulations of payments, information technology, risk management standards, guidelines of electronic products and services business BSFIS. Last is the conclusions. Therefore, the researcher concluded that in the Circular Number 1033, Series of 2019 Amendments to Regulations on Electronic Banking Services and Other Electronic Operation should also regulate the legalization and licensing of the adaptation of the use of electronic banking services, and also should adopt numerous initiatives to adapt its regulation to facilitate and support the electronic banking services and other electronic operation, and develop policies and guidance which might be designed to facilitate electronic banking services and other electronic operations. In other words, the government should focus on the effectiveness, safe, and reliable of the amendments of electronic banking so that each and everyone will be secured and not harmed in using electronic banking services and other electronic operations. And that's all. Thank you.